Could this be the most unfestive weather yet? I'm sat here, it is the 15th of December. It is 10 days away from Christmas. It is pissing it down with rain, unseasonably mild, and yeah, I just feel like this is how it's been now for the last month. For all of December, it's just not felt festive. This weather is far from Christmassy. And this episode has nothing to do with the weather forecast or Christmas, by the way, but I just wanted to point that out. I am sick of this rain. I did, however, enjoy a beautiful walk on Saturday, the one day that was very crisp and cold and cozy and beautiful skies and what have you. But yeah, how are you guys holding up? Because we are now in the darkest point of the year. We're entering into the winter solstice on the 21st. So this week is quite literally the darkest time of the year. The shortest days. All I want to do, I'll be honest, is just get all cozy in bed and watch Christmas movies all the time and eat chocolate. I haven't been doing though. I've still been getting out to the gym, doing my usual routine, not been really working on my business, but that is another story for another episode. But yeah, I just want to hibernate. I would be so tempted to be like those animals that hibernate. I'm just not about winter at all. In the future, I definitely need to start going away over winter because this is just not it. But in other news, Merry Christmas. It is the festive season. We are so close to Christmas now. By the time I actually upload this, it probably will be even closer. Well, it definitely will be even closer to Christmas. So I'll obviously say this again at the end of the episode, but Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I don't know whether I'll be recording any more episodes before the new year now. Most likely not. So I just want to get that in there first. And talking of Christmas, actually this episode does have a little bit to do with Christmas because this is where it started. I'm going to set the scene because I went to a beautiful live orchestra, the Christmas orchestra. It was based at Blackburn Cathedral. I went there at the very end of November and oh my gosh, it was absolutely beautiful. Has anyone ever been to the orchestra before? I've never been. This is my very first time. And honestly, at times it made me so emotional. It was beautiful to just immerse yourself in the music and the beautiful lights, and it was just beautiful. It is probably one of those you have to be there moments. I don't think I can truly describe it in any way that gives it justice other than it was just magical. They were playing songs from Home Alone, The Holiday, Love Actually, your traditional Christmas songs. There was also Harry Potter, The Polar Express. It was incredible. And you know when you hear the music in the background of these films, and it's lovely, isn't it? But to hear it live, wow. Anyway, beautiful atmosphere, beautiful experience, absolutely loved it all. And while I was there, obviously, of course, being very present and enjoying the moment and enjoying my own company, which hence I went on my own. It was a little solo date for me, myself and I. But I did notice a lot of beautiful couples. There was families there as well, but there was a lot of couples there and they were, all cozied up together and looking at each other, with love in their eyes and all this beautiful closeness. And yeah, I didn't think of it at the time. I was just enjoying watching them all from this place of detachment, really. I didn't feel jealous, didn't feel envious, didn't feel bitter, just being aware of it. And then I was on my drive home, and for the very first time in a long ass time, might I add, but I was on my drive home and I did wonder to myself what it might have felt like to have experienced that with someone that I love. Just questioned how beautiful it would have been to have shared that moment with someone special. I just want to clarify here, this wasn't about loneliness. I wasn't feeling lonely or wishing that I was with someone. I enjoyed the moment. It was beautiful. And I loved being there on my own, but it just made me wonder. It was an awareness. Okay. And that's the important thing that I do want to point out here is that as much as I do love my own company, I'm always advocating it, aren't I? Solo trip, solo date, enjoying that time for yourself because the most important relationship is the one that you have with yourself. So we do have to feed it and nurture it and treat ourselves like someone that we love and enjoy our own company. And that's what I'm saying here, is that loving my own company as much as I do, and I personally choose to do all these nice things on my own, it doesn't mean that I don't desire connection. Yeah, I don't want to come on these episodes and be like, strong independent woman, don't need no man. Hence, actually, that is a part of this episode as well, but it's not about that. I love my own company, I love spending time with myself, but I do still desire connection. It's still there within me. I'm a human being. As I keep saying to all of you, we are humans, we desire connection. There's nothing wrong with that. It's only natural. But yeah, so on my drive home, I was obviously aware of how nice it would have been to have shared that. And then I questioned, does this mean that I'm ready to meet someone again? Am I ready for love again? Am I ready to meet my soulmate? Is this time? Am I ready? There's so much to consider, isn't there, with the whole term of readiness for love, because it's not just about time passing. It's not just, it's been a year, it's been 2, it's been 10, it's not about the time. It's a deep inner feeling and knowing, a certainty. And so in that moment when I actually was questioning this on my drive home, does this mean I'm ready to meet someone? And instantly my higher self spoke out to me, and she said, well, you would be if you just let go of all of that shit. That's what she said. You would be if you let go of the past, if you let go of all that bullshit, if you let go of her. And this wasn't judgmental in any way, shape or form. It was almost like this clear, calm, loving truth and certainty, just this deep knowing of, it's time to let her go. You're ready to let her go. And so with that, you may be thinking, well, who? Like, what bullshit? What past selves, who? What shit is it time to release and let go of? And again, it further just kept coming to me. It was flooding through me by this point. Does anyone else get these these downloads in the most irrational times, by the way? I get them so many times driving. Or frustratingly, as I'm trying to drop off to sleep at night, and I'll just be like, ping, higher self's coming in. She wants to download, she wants to channel some messages to you. Listen on up, at 1 o'clock in the morning. So frustrating, but this is when they come to me. But yeah, just at this moment, as she spoke to me and said of this, these are the versions that came to me, and it was that version of me that was heartbroken at the end of my marriage, who believed that she would never, ever, ever be happy again. Absolutely devastated, couldn't trust a man again. It was that version. It was the version of me that went on to move to Bali to escape, let's be honest. Yeah. It was that version. It was the version of me who slept with men, quite simply to feel wanted and desired. She felt that she had to. She wanted to feel wanted. She wanted to feel wanted. That version of me who accepted breadcrumbs, quite frankly, and being treated like utter shite, but any sort of attention was better than none at all. The version of me who stayed in an unhealthy relationship. What the fuck was that about, The version of me who abandoned myself to feel loved, to feel connection with people who, quite frankly, did not deserve me and my energy. They didn't deserve me. The version of me who tolerated disrespect just because she didn't want to be alone. And these are all the phases that I've been throughout my life, including way back when in the past, the version of me who, oh my gosh, I think I mentioned this before, in school, in primary school, in PE, where they'd choose teams and I was always the last one to be chosen, and that hurt. That was probably, those first sort of memories of rejection that I felt, and they are what we carry through our entire lives. These versions of myself, these past identities, I just felt ready to let them go. And it's not even about healing them. I've done that work. It's just this readiness of like, yeah, goodbye. You've served me. You did your best. I don't need that anymore. I don't need those versions. I don't need her. And none of these I'm ashamed of. I'm not ashamed of any single version. It's not about being disappointed. It's not about being ashamed, or every single version of me was needed at the time to survive, to get through, to learn, to grow. Every single version of me was needed, and they did the very best they could with what they knew at that time, with where they were at that time, with who they were and what they were experiencing. They were just doing their best. But they are not who I am anymore. They are not me. I no longer identify with any of those versions, including that strong, independent woman, don't need no man, men hold me back. I'm better off on my own. I'm happier on my own. I don't need a guy to make me happy, etc., etc. They are not who I am anymore. And this is the realization, isn't it, that healing is not the same as release. Okay, so I've been, I speak a lot about this healing journey, this healing and growth and working on your self-development and doing the shadow work and going back and rewriting those subconscious beliefs and all sorts from our past, okay? And that is so important. But there's a difference between healing with something and actually releasing it. I can look back now and see that I have integrated all of those lessons, every lesson that I needed, every version of myself that was surviving and just doing her best. I have integrated all of that now. But I also still identified with the pain, with that person, that she was a part of me and my life, and she's who I am. I was still identifying with those past versions. And in a way, those versions of ourselves from the past that we are healing and working through, when we're still identifying with them, we're quietly, in a way, shaping our identity. So we're making choices from them. Our nervous system is working with them. Does that make sense? So I realized that I could never, ever, ever fully be ready for a love while those versions of me were still alive within me, inside my identity. It was just this realization of, yeah, you've done the work now, but actually you can never fully move on until you release her. Release all of those versions of her. I could never fully be ready for love while those versions of me were still alive inside my identity. Right? It was just such a huge moment. And so with that, I am working with a spiritual mentor right now who's helping me through a lot with regards to my identity, my purpose, my mission on this earth, and relearning exactly who I actually am on a deep soul level. It's basically a lot of the work that I do with my clients as well, but I need that too. And in a way, I'll be honest with you, with the 4 sessions that I've had so far, I feel as though I am completely burning down my entire identity and who I am as I know it, as well as my business, by the way. But like I say, that's another episode, but everything is burning down with it. Ready for a fresh, ready to rise, ready for new. Not going anywhere, by the way. I'm still here, still ready to work with incredible women who want this for themselves as well. I am here. But there's a lot of tweaks going on in the background to make it better. And with that, it's because I'm showing up better for you So all the work that I do, that transfers. Does that make sense? So right now, in this month in December, pretty much taking it off, I'm not going to lie, and just working on myself. And I know that in the new year, I will show up as the best possible version, an upgraded version, in order to help more and more people with so many different scenarios and situations and healing that needs to be done, that I can walk them through and get them from where they are right now to where they want to be. And I know that without a shadow of a doubt, but I need to work on me in order for you to get what you need from me. I hope that all makes sense. But anyway, long story short, I'm working with this mentor at the moment, and she did say, you know, we should create a eulogy. We should lay her to rest. And this was before I'd even had this download, by the way. So those codes from her landed within me. Does that make sense? And this is a lot of the work that we do. She implanted codes within me, and then I had this download, and it all just made sense. But she'd actually mentioned this prior, that I need to let the past versions of myself, like, lay her to rest. Okay. So from what she had said, and from this download together, I chose to create a whole beautiful ceremony, ritual, everything. And I'm actually going to read out to you what I wrote down specifically, because within that, it's everything that I was feeling in that moment, everything that I was ready to release, and with that, in a place of love and readiness for what's to come. Okay, so I'm just gonna, obviously I have since burnt the paper and spreaded the ashes of the paper into the ground. And so I'm actually going to read out the post that I put onto my social media, because it was so powerful, so beautiful. But just to mention what happened with the ritual, yes, so I burnt the paper, so it was into ashes. I spread it into the soil, into the ground, and just really was so present in that moment, and it just felt so right. And then I used some little rocks and stones and made a little cross over the top, and then popped some flowers on as a gift to the earth, a blessing. So I made a whole ceremony of it. It was so beautiful, and it felt right in every way. But here, I'll just read out the post that I put on my social media. Of course, if you follow me and you've seen it, you'll already know, but I'm just going to read this out to you in my words, in my tone, because it'll just land so much differently. Okay, so here we go. Today, I made it official and said goodbye to her. The past versions of myself that can now be laid to rest. The version of me that was lost, heartbroken, and traumatized at the end of my marriage. The version of me that chose to stay in an unhealthy relationship that made me so miserable. The version that felt I needed to sleep with a man to feel chosen, desired, wanted. The version of me that as a child ever felt rejected, not good enough, not deserving of love. And even now, the version of me that believes I'm a strong, independent woman and don't need a man. She was only ever doing her best in all of these different phases or scenarios, staying strong, protecting herself, putting up walls, believing in a potential, or simply saying, I'm just having fun. All the while, deep down, she was bruised, didn't believe in herself or understand the meaning of true unconditional love for self. Every single one of these versions of myself was needed and has led me here today, ready to release, not through pain, hurt, or sadness, but with gratitude, appreciation, and a deep readiness for this new version of me who is taking over now, while they can finally be laid to rest with peace and love. That's the first time that I've read that out loud and not cried, not got emotional, and I think that says a lot in itself. The first time that I wrote the actual eulogy, I cried. When I read it through again, I cried. And when I read it to my mentor, I cried. And actually, funnily enough, it was at the very end when I was stating about the version of me that's ready to take over. So it was a beautiful, sort of like happy tears, but with emotion and fear behind it as well. There was like this readiness, but also a bit of fear, because it's always a sadness to let the version of you go. As much as I was ready to let her go, there's a sadness in that as well, because she served me so well. She was doing her best. And there was a sadness with that, but also a bit of fear and so much happiness and readiness as well. So it's funny because I haven't read it again since doing it, if that makes sense, other than obviously what I put onto social media. But that's the first time I've been reading it out loud again. And all I could feel was peace, like a certainty that it's done now. It's done. So yeah, it was beautiful. Like I say, the whole ritual was beautiful, and giving to the earth and letting her go and symbolizing that moment and what I was ready for, and with that, what I was ready to bring in. And that is exactly why ritual matters. It matters. So why the heck did I, do a cross and flowers? And that's because the subconscious, it needs a symbolism, doesn't it? It needs something like a visionary almost, because I could have just said, look, I'm ready to let her go now, like I'm done with it. But then the art of me writing exactly who I was ready to let go of, and then me burning that paper with love, spreading those ashes, the flowers, the cross, it was all a symbolism. It made it real rather than just a thought in my mind. Does that make sense? So it's not to be, dramatic or weird. Some of you are probably listening thinking, what the heck, is she going crazy? It's not about that. It's a devotion. That's what I believe. It's a devotion to myself, to my past, and to my future. It was about a closure, honouring exactly who she was and all that she did for me that led me here. But then it was a release. It was closure, it was honour, it was release. And it was honestly beautiful. And like I say, that's the first time now that I've read it out, and I just feel this like, yeah, she's gone now, and that's okay. It's happened. And I am who I am today, now, here, in the now, with no attachment, no cords that need to be released. They've gone. But I'll be honest, when I did the actual ceremony, when I did the ritual, just going to share it with you, as beautiful as it was, there wasn't this, like euphoric feeling. It wasn't like, yes, I've made it, I've done it. This is it now. I'm ready to manifest my best life and be exactly the version of who I am today. She is gone. Like, there was nothing like that. It was just this, settled sort of feeling, So sometimes when we do these things, and myself included, I am a bit guilty of feeling like there's going to be a switch. It's like the whole New Year thing, isn't it? New Year, new me. Like, as soon as you hit midnight, it's like, oh my God, that's it now, I've made it. No, it's not like that at all. All it was this feeling of peace and being so settled and grounded in who I was, just feeling so clear. So, going back to the thought that I had leaving the orchestra of whether I'm going to meet, am I ready to meet someone? Does this mean I'm ready for love? And to be honest, I don't know. I don't know when I'll meet someone. I don't know that. I don't know when I'll be ready. I don't know when the universe will bring him to me at a point when we are both aligned to meet, connect, and grow on this journey of life together. I don't know when that will be. But what I do know is that I am no longer bringing my past into that relationship, into that connection. No longer will the bruised versions of me, will the hurt versions of me, will the past identities of me be brought forth into any new relationships or connections that I have with someone. And that's the truth, and that's where I stand. So I remember my past. I remember these versions of myself. They are a part of my story. They are a part of what's made me who I am today. But all of these versions of me they've brought me wisdom now. Yeah. They have wisdom, no more wounds. Yeah. They've brought me boundaries, but not that armor or shields to push people away. They've brought me desire. Yes, I desire and seek out connection, but I'm not desperate for it. They've brought me an openness to love, to relationships, but not a fear around it, not a fear, not a neediness, not any uncertainty, just this openness. It's as simple as that. And so I think this whole experience and the thoughts that I had, the downloads that came through, the eulogy, the symbolism, the ceremony, and all of the feelings that I've had since and now, all I can see is that when we look at the readiness for love or meeting someone, anything like that, it's never about being healed enough. Like, have you done the work? Have you healed? It's about not asking for someone else to fix you, to fix an old identity, because you've already released that now. You look at your past, you look at your experiences, but you're detached from them. So no one ever has to come in and fix an old version of you that is still attached to you. It's no longer seeking a validation for who you are authentically, without all of the masks that we often have. We want to put our best selves forward, but actually it's just being exactly who you are and exactly who you're meant to be here to be, and not seeking validation for that, not feeling the need to be accepted, but simply just being you. And it's about a presence. It's about a deep, deep presence. And that's the truth, isn't it? Because love never requires any perfection, does it? No one's perfect. You don't have to be. We never will be. But it does require an availability, doesn't it? It requires availability. It requires openness. It requires room. And what I didn't have was room, because there was too many cluttered versions of me taking over and running the show and choosing the way, even though I didn't realise that, because all I was working on was my healing. But there's healing, and then there's releasing, and that readiness. And that is part of the healing journey, by the way. There comes to a point when you're like, that's it. I've learned those lessons. I've integrated everything that I needed, and now I'm ready to release and make room. Whether that be for a relationship or anything, you can tie this into so many different scenarios. But when you are truly took what you needed to from something and then let that go and step into your new identity, onto your new timeline, that makes you available for it. So I guess we should finish off, because of course we are coming towards the end of the year as well. So it's always good to reflect on things at the end of the year anyway. I don't know about you, but I certainly always do reflect on things. So have a moment and just think to yourself now, which versions of you are still alive within you out of a habit, but not actually being truthful to you? Yeah? What are you doing? How are you showing up? Who are you? Simply because that's who you've always been, or it's because of this that happened to you, or it's because of what went on there, rather than a deep truth of who you actually are. Who are you ready to lay to rest? Who are you ready to let go of? Truly, deeply, not just out of a need, but because you know that it's time. And what identity are you ready to step into for 2026, for the new year? Who are you ready to become, to embody? And with that, you could copy some of my ideas, write your own eulogy, create some sort of a ritual, or even just speak these releases out loud, make them real, make them raw, make them true and honest. Okay, so because now it's about choosing a new identity, choosing embodiment over a memory. Who do you want to be? Who are you? Who even are you without the past, without the memories, without the hurt, the pain? Who are you? Choose embodiment over the memory. And like I say, even write your own eulogy or create some sort of ritual and say goodbye to her, but always from a place of love, and truly honouring that she was only ever doing her best in any which way situation. She was doing her very, very best, and she's got you to where you are today. And so that is beautiful, that is powerful. So honour that. I guess I just want to end this episode by saying that I didn't go looking for love that night at the orchestra. Absolutely not. No interest, no looking. I just went to have a beautiful experience for myself. And I did. But what I also experienced was I met the version of myself who's finally available for it. That's what truly counts. That's what matters. Wanting love is not a weakness. Never, ever, ever. Being single, it's not a failure. I love my life. I love the fact that I'm single and I'm embracing this time of my life for me and really learning exactly about who I am and enjoying this gift of solitude and not being tied up in a relationship, you know. Being single isn't a failure, but also wanting love is not a weakness. And letting go, finally, it was never a loss, was it, for me? It was initiation to that next level. I'm really glad that I recorded this, actually. I'm really glad that I shared the experience on social media. I'm really glad that I've shared this on a deeper level, the whole entire story with you guys and how it led me to create this ceremony and this ritual and the deeper meaning behind it. If you made it this far to the end of the episode, thank you so much for listening. I would love to hear your comments, your feedback. Have you experienced anything similar? Can you relate to any of this in any which way? Are you still on that healing journey in yourself and you're not quite ready to let go? And that is more than okay, because again, you're just doing your best for where you're at right now, and that is more than enough. It's more than enough. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much to everybody who has continued to listen to the podcast, to share it with friends, to comment, leave ratings, reviews, things like that, because the only way this podcast can ever grow or get to the right people is through you. It is through my listeners. It is through you sharing, spreading the word, engaging in any which way. Honestly, it means the world to me. And I just want to take a moment to thank you all so much for continuing to be on this journey with me and for all of the support throughout the year. As I mentioned at the beginning, this could well be my last episode of the year. I don't feel, like I say, we are on the 15th of December. Who knows? I may have another episode within me yet. We will see what downloads come through. But if not, I want to take this moment to wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. And I can't wait to see you all again in the new year for, oh my gosh, it's just going to be beautiful. I just know it. I know it, but I will leave it there. Sending you all the love in the world. Thank you again so much. I love you all. Bye-bye.